I'm Carol, 36, a single mom pouring every ounce of my energy into giving my son Sawyer the life I never had, the stability, the love, the freedom to be himself. When he accidentally knocked over that antique vase in the barn, my mom's voice sliced through the phone like shards of ice. $800, Carol, tonight. Or pack your bags and get out. But when my brother's kid shattered the brand new 55-inch TV in the living room during a wild indoor game, she hugged him tight, cooing softly, "Accidents happen, sweetheart. We'll get a bigger one, even better." That night at 9:30 p.m., Sawyer and I were out the door, barn guest house keys tossed carelessly on the porch, like discarded trash. 2 years later, we're thriving in our own cozy place, Sawyer's vibrant art hanging proudly on real walls, not shoved hidden in a dusty corner. And my brother's family jealousy festered and tore them apart from the inside out, unraveling everything they thought was secure. If you've ever been treated like the spare tire in your own family, the afterthought no one values, drop a comment where you're watching from and hit subscribe. This journey shattered everything we knew, then rebuilt it stronger, brighter, unbreakable. Growing up just 3 years apart from Cole Harrison, my younger brother, I was always the one left trailing in the dust, forgotten. He got the shiny new bike for his 10th birthday, complete with training wheels he ditched in a week like a pro. I rode a rusty hand-me-down from the neighbor's brakes, squeaking painfully every time I hit the bumpy gravel road outside our old farmhouse in Louisville. High school hit hard, and Cole wanted to play baseball. Mom and Dad shelled out generously for private coaching sessions, brand new cleats, even a custom glove, tailored just for him. Me, I worked exhausting weekends at the local diner, flipping greasy burgers to save every penny for community college. When Cole decided on a 4-year university, Dad wrote the checks without blinking an eye. Full ride, no loans to burden him. I pieced together scholarships, night shifts, and sheer grit, graduating with debt that hung over me like dark, relentless storm clouds. Then came the weddings. Cole proposed to Riley Harrison, his high school sweetheart turned successful real estate partner. Mom planned every lavish detail, venue at the upscale country club, live band, playing all night, open bar flowing freely. The bill topped $30,000, and they covered it all without hesitation, beaming proudly in the glossy photos. My turn arrived years earlier, quiet and simple. I married with no fuss, no fanfare. Mom handed over an envelope with $2,000. "That's what we can spare," she said coldly, her eyes already drifting to Cole's future plans. After my painful divorce, scraping by as a freelance graphic designer with unsteady gigs, I needed a desperate reset. Mom offered the barn out back, converted years ago into a cramped one-bedroom space with a tiny kitchenette and thin walls. "Stay as long as you need," she said, but it came with strings. Rent-free sounded perfect for rebuilding my shattered life. Sawyer, my bright 11-year-old, could have some stability while I stacked clients and saved. But privacy? Forget it entirely. The barn shared a flimsy wall with the main house, thin enough to hear every muffled conversation, every laugh. Mom Virginia Harrison dictated rigid mealtimes. Dinner at 6 sharp, or eat cold leftovers alone. She inspected the fridge weekly, tossing anything past her strict approval with a judgmental glare. "Waste not, want not," she'd snap sharply, rearranging my groceries like she owned them. Dad Philip Harrison stayed neutral as always, buried deep in his recliner with the TV remote clutched tight. He'd nod along to whatever Mom said, avoiding eye contact during her heated rants, never intervening. Sawyer felt it the worst, the unfair weight crushing him. Cole's kids, Ford and Emerson, the energetic 8-year-old twins plus 6-year-old Jade, had free run of the big house. They tumbled wildly through the living room, toys scattered like chaotic landmines everywhere. Sawyer's stuff stayed confined to our tiny corner, untouched and ignored. One afternoon, he asked innocently for a snack before dinner. Mom overheard from the doorway. "Cole's boys have their own rooms upstairs, stocked pantries full. You're in the barn act grateful for what little you get. Cole dropped by, often flashing fat sales commissions from flipping properties downtown with ease. Riley tagged along, coordinating playdates that always favored their perfect trio. Sawyer can join, but keep him quiet and out of the way, she'd whisper conspiratorially, as if my kid disrupted some fragile, perfect bubble. I swallowed it all bitterly, reminding myself this was temporary, a stepping stone. Extra jobs poured in steadily, logos for local breweries, menus for cozy cafes. Every hard-earned dollar went straight to an escape fund building our future. Sawyer sketched in tense silence, his pencils wearing down faster than his waning patience. Mom's rules tightened like a noose. Curfew for Sawyer at 8, even on weekends when kids should play. Cole's children follow structure, she'd justify coldly. Dad mumbled weak agreement from the sidelines, never challenging. One evening, Cole bragged loudly about upgrading the twins' playroom, new gaming console, massive wall-mounted screen. Sawyer glanced up from his detailed drawing. "Cool," he said softly, voice small. Mom shot him a sharp, disapproving look. "Appreciate what you have and don't covet theirs." I bit my tongue hard, focusing on the glowing screen deadlines looming large. Living here saved money, built security, or so I told myself repeatedly to endure. 3 weeks before everything exploded into chaos, Sawyer bounced a rubber ball against the barn wall for fun. He aimed for the open space near his bed, but the ball ricocheted wildly off a shelf. The antique vase, Mom's precious heirloom from her own grandmother, teetered precariously, then crashed dramatically. Shards scattered across the wood floor like broken promises, sharp and final. Sawyer froze in terror. I rushed in from the kitchenette, heart sinking. Mom burst through the connecting door seconds later, face flushed red with fury. "That was worth $800, she yelled, pointing accusingly at the mess. Sawyer's eyes widened in fear. "It was an accident, Grandma, I swear." "800 right now," Mom demanded unrelentingly, hands planted on hips. I stepped protectively between them. "We don't have cash like that lying around. Can we set up payments, please?" She shook her head hard, unyielding. "No. Pay up or get out immediately." Sawyer scooped fragments into a shaky pile, whispering "sorry" over and over, voice breaking. Mom ignored him completely, storming back to the main house in a huff. I knelt to help, my mind racing desperately for solutions that simply didn't exist. 1 week earlier, the scene played out so differently in the living room, highlighting the hypocrisy. Ford Harrison, one of Cole's 8-year-old twins, hurled a baseball at his brother Emerson during an indoor catch game gone wrong. The ball missed entirely, slamming into the new 55-inch TV mounted above the fireplace. The screen cracked instantly, spiderwebbing from the center in a destructive web. Cole laughed it off, at first easygoing. "Boys will be boys, full of energy." Riley scooped up Jade, their 6-year-old, away from the debris carefully. Mom rushed in, but instead of anger, she pulled Ford close in a warm hug. "Accidents happen, honey. We'll replace it with something bigger and better." Emerson grinned wide, high-fiving Ford triumphantly. No lectures, no demands for repayment. Dad glanced up from his newspaper, shrugged indifferently, and went back to reading. Cole promised the kids an exciting trip to the electronics store that weekend. I watched from the shadowy hallway, biting back burning words. Sawyer stood beside me, clutching his sketchbook tightly. "Why don't they yell at Ford?" he asked quietly, confusion in his eyes. I had no answer then, just a knot in my stomach. Later that afternoon, I cornered Mom in the kitchen while she prepped dinner meticulously. "Sawyer breaks something old and fragile and it's $800 or else. Ford destroys a brand new TV and it's fine, no consequences." Mom stirred the pot without looking up, unbothered. "Cole's family needs emotional protection and support. You and Sawyer manage on your own." "Manage," I echoed, voice rising. "That's not fair at all." She turned, finally spoon-dripping thick sauce. "Life isn't fair, Carol. Cole works hard in real estate. His kids deserve stability and leniency. Sawyer overheard from the barn door, peeking through timidly. He didn't say anything, just retreated silently to his drawings, shoulders slumped. I followed, but the double standard burned deep inside. Cole stopped by the next day, bragging about closing a big sale triumphantly. "New commission means upgrades for the house," he said, ruffling Ford's hair affectionately. Emerson and Jade tagged along, demanding snacks loudly. Mom handed them cookies fresh from the oven, warm and inviting. Sawyer asked politely for one. "Wait your turn," she snapped harshly. I pulled Mom aside again that evening, frustration boiling. The vase was an accident too, just like the TV. She waved me off dismissively. "Antiques hold sentimental value. TVs get discounted easily." Riley joined the conversation uninvited, defending Cole fiercely. "The boys are energetic and lively. Let them be kids without punishment." Sawyer's ball incident replayed in my head, same energy, different rules entirely. Dad stayed silent during family dinners, pushing food around his plate listlessly. When I brought it up once, desperate for allyship, he muttered, "Pick your battles wisely." Cole smirked smugly. "Sis, relax. It's just stuff, not worth the drama." But it wasn't just stuff. Sawyer started avoiding the main house altogether, eating in the barn, alone, isolated. His sketches grew darker lines, heavier and more anguished. I noticed the change, but stayed quiet, focusing on client work to build our exit faster. Mom's demands escalated relentlessly. She left notes on the barn door, clean, the shared driveway, spotless, mow the lawn section near our space, perfectly. Cole's sighed, overgrown, wildly ignored without care. One night, Ford and Emerson snuck into the barn, curiously rummaging through Sawyer's art supplies messily. They knocked over a jar of pencils clumsily. Mom caught them leaving but smiled. "Boys exploring innocently," she excused lightly. "No punishment, no scolding." Sawyer confronted me tearfully. "Why is everything my fault, Mom?" I hugged him tight. "It's not you, buddy, never you." The Vase deadline loomed like a guillotine. Mom texted reminders daily, persistent. Cole offered no help whatsoever, saying smugly, "Teach responsibility through consequences." That evening, I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. The breaking point had arrived. That evening at 8:45, I walked into the main kitchen, heart pounding wildly in my chest. Mom stood at the counter, arms crossed defiantly. $800 or pack up tonight?" she said flat out, no room for negotiation. Dad sat at the table, staring into his coffee mug, blankly silent as usual, avoiding the storm. I opened my mouth to negotiate again, pleading. Before words came fully, Cole pushed through the back door abruptly, jacket half off. "You're blowing this out of proportion, sis. Sawyer needs to learn accountability the hard way." Sawyer hovered just outside the doorway, ears perked up. His face paled at Cole's harsh words. He bolted toward the barn without a sound, fleeing the tension. "Accountability," I shot back fiercely. "Ford gets a pass on everything every time." Cole rolled his eyes dramatically. "Different situations, different kids." Mom nodded along firmly. "Cole's right, pay or leave now." Dad shifted uncomfortably in his chair but said nothing, eyes fixed on the floor. I glanced toward the barn anxiously. Sawyer's silhouette disappeared inside quickly. "Fine," I replied steadily. "We'll go. But not because Sawyer did anything wrong, because this isn't home." Cole snorted derisively. "Drama queen, always overreacting." Mom pointed at the clock impatiently. "Clock's ticking. Don't waste time." I turned on my heel sharply, marching to the barn with purpose. Sawyer sat on his bed, knees pulled to chest, tears streaking his cheeks. "Are we really leaving, Mom?" he whispered fearfully. "Yes, buddy. Grab your backpack now." He stuffed in favorite pencils, sketch pads carefully. I yanked clothes from drawers, jeans, tees, jackets, cramming them into duffels hurriedly. Laptop went into its case, charger coiled tight and secure. Mom appeared at the barn entrance coldly. "Keys on the hook when you're done." No goodbye, no regret in her voice. Cole lingered behind her smugly. Call when you cool off and come to your senses. I ignored him completely, zipping bags with finality. Dad peeked in once, hesitantly. Carol. He started weakly. Mom cut him off sharply. Let her go. She chose this. Sawyer slung his bag over one shoulder defiantly. I hate this place, he muttered under his breath. We hauled everything to the car trunk, slammed shut at 9:30 sharp, echoing. I tossed the barn keys onto the porch step. They clinked against concrete loudly. Engine roared to life powerfully. Headlights cut through the dark driveway piercingly. Cole watched from the window, arms folded tightly. Mom stayed inside unmoved. 15 minutes later, we pulled up to Sloane Klein's house, my old neighbor from before the divorce now, just 15 minutes across town. She opened the door in pajamas, eyes wide with concern. Need a couch tonight, desperately, I said breathlessly. She stepped aside without questions, welcoming us. Sawyer dropped his bag in the entryway, exhaustion hitting hard. Sloane fetched soft blankets quickly. Stay as long as you need, mi casa es su casa. I nodded, thanks profusely, mind spinning with plans. Phone buzzed. Mom's text, change your mind, yet Barnes waiting. Ignored deliberately. Cole called next, insistent. Voicemail. Running away solves nothing, grow up. Deleted without hesitation. Dad sent one message, drive safe, kids. That's all, no more. Sloane brewed comforting tea. Sawyer curled on the sofa, out cold within minutes, peaceful at last. I stared at the ceiling plans forming rapidly in the quiet. No more suffocating rules, no more painful comparisons. Just us free. Cole texted again persistently. Mom's upset because of your stubbornness. Blocked the number instantly. Sloane sat across sympathetically. Tomorrow we find you a real place. I agreed, relief mixing with lingering anger. Sawyer stirred in sleep gently. I covered him better with care. Mom's final text slipped through before I blocked her too. Barnes waiting patiently. No response ever. The house felt quiet, foreign at first, but undeniably free, a new chapter. That night I had no clue where we'd land permanently, but I knew with certainty we weren't turning back, not ever. The first night at Sloane's, I lay on the air mattress listening to the wall clock tick relentlessly in the hallway. Each second brought back Virginia's voice, cold, final, repeating every harsh word from the kitchen standoff in echoes. Sawyer slept on the bunk above, breathing steady and calm. Sloane had left a fan running low for comfort. Air circulated gently, but rest stayed out of reach. Elusive. I traced patterns in the dark ceiling, replaying demands, ultimatums, injustices. Morning arrived with warm coffee aroma filling the air. Sloane set mugs down gently. Sawyer stirred rubbed sleepy eyes. She pushed golden toast his way encouragingly. He bit in, chewing, slow, but surely. I opened my phone determinedly. Rental apps loaded quickly. Filters set one bedroom under 1,000 Louisville area specifically. Listings scrolled endless, promising. Sloane leaned over helpfully. That complex looks decent and safe. Photos matched perfectly, clean lobby, laundry on-site conveniently. Rent listed $950 affordable. Contacted agent immediate via AP. Viewing slotted for afternoon promptly. Sloane drove us. Sawyer in back sketching on a notepad creatively. Unit toured, perfect open layout, big sunny windows letting light flood in. Application filled on spot eagerly. References checked quick and smooth. Deposit required upfront, a hurdle. I pitched new projects urgently, branding packages, flyer sets for clients. Responses came fast, wires incoming reliably. Approval came Tuesday morning. Keys picked Wednesday afternoon. Sloane borrowed a pickup from work efficiently. Bags loaded quick and neat. New threshold crossed triumphantly. Sawyer ran fingers along fresh walls, claiming corners excitedly. I arranged furniture, minimal table chairs from thrift store finds. Laptop set up, corner desk strategically. Deadlines met diligently, invoices sent promptly. Rent covered first month fully. Sawyer unpacked supplies joyfully. Easel assembled sturdy brushes lined neatly. He worked hours, uninterrupted focus sharp and inspired. School bus stop close by. Registration handled smooth without hitches. Teachers encouraged creativity freely without old baggage weighing down. His posture changed gradually, shoulders back, confidently, voice louder and bolder. Drawings filled pages rapidly, techniques advancing noticeably, no daily critiques to stifle. Ford and Emerson no longer unfair benchmarks, progress his own pure. Evenings structured light and fun. Dinner prepped joint chopping veggies together, setting table happily. Conversations flowed natural and open. Savings accumulated small but steady. Extra gigs funded supplies outings, occasional and memorable. Sloan stopped by weekend cheerfully. Settling nice and cozy. Sawyer showed portfolio update proudly. She nodded approval genuinely. Confidence radiated from him. Entries submitted contests local bravely. Feedback constructive positive always. Routine built solid and reliable. Mornings, independent nights, relaxed fully. Sawyer experimented mediums freely, watercolor added vibrantly, charcoal tried boldly. Talent bloomed free, unrestricted. I watched growth unfold, satisfaction deep and fulfilling. 6 months in the new apartment, Sawyer joined the school art club every Tuesday and Thursday enthusiastically. He carried supplies and a dedicated case meetings running until 5 productively. Teachers rotated projects, still life detailed portraits, expressive mixed media, innovative. Sawyer led a group mural on community themes, ideas flowing free and collaborative. I balanced freelance load steady and growing. Logos for startups, fresh brochures for events, professional. Invoices cleared weekly without fail, covering rent, groceries, extras comfortably. No more scraping by. No Virginia, breathing down on expenses critically. Phone buzzed one afternoon unexpectedly. Virginia's text, "Come back now. The barn is still empty?" And waiting. Ignored completely. Sawyer glanced over curiously. "Grandma." I shook head firmly, deleted thread permanently. Next day, call from her persistent. Voicemail, "You're hurting the family with your absence." Listened once, curiously erased immediately. No callback ever. Clients praised turnaround speeds. One referred a chain generously, monthly retainers locked in secure. Buffer grew steadily. Emergency fund started wisely. Sawyer's club displayed work in the lobby proudly. Parents stopped to admire genuinely. "Talented kid," one said warmly. He beamed bright. No comparisons clouding his joy. Virginia tried again weekend stubbornly. Text, "Barn ready whenever you wise up." Deleted without reply, no second thought. Cole messaged Monday intrusively. "Mom's upset because of you and your drama." Read once, blocked number, immediate and final. Art club planned, exhibit excitedly. Sawyer prepped pieces diligently, oils now with depth, added richly. Practice sessions, home easel, permanent fixture. Earnings allowed upgrades, smartly better monitor, crisp software subscription premium. Efficiency uprates increased fairly. Virginia left voicemail midweek desperately. "Family suffers without you." Deleted, unheard, no interest. Sawyer won club vote for theme leader confidently. Ideas sketched collaborative and innovative. Group respected input wholeheartedly. Blocked Cole's alternate number after another intrusive try. Income stable and rising, outings planned, joyfully museum trips, inspiring supply runs, fun. Sawyer absorbed techniques eagerly applied, bold and original. Virginia stopped texting after prolonged silence. Peace held strong, uninterrupted. Club showcase approached eagerly. Sawyer rehearsed presentations smoothly. Confidence natural and earned. Funds covered entry fees, contests citywide easily. Submissions prepared meticulously. No pressure from the old life. Growth pure and untainted. 2 years after leaving the barn behind, Sawyer entered the citywide art contest boldly. His piece, titled Free House, depicted open doors welcoming bright skies, endless no fences restricting. Judges awarded first place in the teen division unanimously. Ceremony packed the community center vibrantly. Sawyer accepted the trophy gracefully, speech short but powerful. "This is for new beginnings and second chances." Local paper ran a photo spread next morning prominently. Sawyer front page, smile wide and genuine painting enlarged beautifully. Cole spotted it at the coffee shop casually. He folded the paper hard in frustration, face tightening with envy. That evening at the farmhouse, Cole confronted Virginia in the kitchen angrily. "Why does Sawyer get praised everywhere while my grandkids get nothing at all?" Virginia chopped vegetables steadily, knife-sharp and rhythmic. "Sawyer earned it through hard work." Cole paced restlessly. "Ford and Emerson draw too, you know. You never push them or notice." Virginia set the knife down firmly. "They have other strengths to explore." Riley overheard from the living room calmly, Jade on her lap, content. "You're always comparing to Carol obsessively," she said evenly. Cole spun around. "She left us. We're here loyal." Riley stood resolutely. "And I'm done with the obsession and favoritism." Next week, Riley filed for divorce decisively. Court granted her full custody of Ford, Emerson, and Jade swiftly. Cole kept visitation weekends only. House sold quick in a hot market, proceeds split evenly. Virginia rattled alone in the big empty farmhouse. Meals for one, solitary echoes in vast halls. No visitors to fill the void. Ford's soccer games skipped entirely, Emerson's recitals missed regretfully. Philip's blood pressure spiked first time during a solo dinner unexpectedly. Ambulance rushed him urgently. Hospital stay 3 days tense. Second episode months later, longer recovery grueling. Virginia managed visits sparse and strained. Cole buried in work stress overwhelmingly. Major contract fell through disastrously, client cited unreliability pointedly. Commissions dried up completely. Bank notices piled high, foreclosure threatened imminently. Sawyer's win inspired scholarships generously. Art supplies funded fully, classes advanced professionally. Philip texted once from hospital bed weekly, "Your mom needs to apologize sincerely, but she won't ever." Read silently, no reply sent. I deleted contacts, thoroughly blocked emails, permanently changed our numbers completely. Final cut clean and liberating. Sawyer exhibited more frequently, awards stacked impressively, confidence unshakable and radiant. Cole spiraled downward. Arguments with partners, explosive deals lost repeatedly, debt mounted crushing. Riley relocated with kids to a fresh start, new city, clean and promising. Virginia declined invite, stubbornly isolated fully in her regret. Philip discharged weak, eventually homebound, mostly with limitations. Our life flourished abundantly. Sawyer mentored younger artists passionately. I expanded business successfully, team hired capably. Cutting ties wasn't revenge at all, it protected our hard-won peace. Real family isn't blood alone. It's where respect lives mutually, where love is equal. Thanks for listening to the end with me. What did this story make you rethink about family dynamics? Share in comments. I read every one attentively.